What's up, Guardians? Profane here, thanks for checking out the video. Today we'll be taking a look at the best non-raid legendary weapons that new light and returning players will want to get their hands on first. It's no secret that some of Destiny's strongest, most formidable weapons are locked behind its raids, but not all Guardians have the luxury or the desire of running these over and over again. So for the new, the solo, and the returning players, non-raid weapons are a far more sought after treasure. So with that in mind, I've put together a list of the 15 must-have legendary weapons that don't require jumping into a raid. We've got these broken down into the 5 best kinetic, energy, and heavy slot legendary weapons. Before we get started, it's worth noting that we are only including weapons that can currently be obtained by new and returning players. It really wouldn't be fair to these players to have the Callus mini tool on the list, just for example. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start off our list with the 5 must-have kinetic weapons, with the first being the IS Luna Stasis Hand Cannon, arguably one of the best and most versatile hand cannons in Destiny. With trait combinations like Rangefinder and Moving Target or Kill Clip, it's super strong in the PvP, and with Headstone or Demolitionist, you're looking at an incredible PvE option, and it's available as a random drop from the final boss of the Grasp of Avarice dungeon. The Immortal is up next, a Trials exclusive reward. This 750 RPM Strand SMG has been downright nasty in the Crucible, but just as formidable of a weapon in PvE, as it can drop with a number of top tier trait combinations that feature Target Lock, Hatchlings, Kill Clip, Threat Detector, and Demolitionist. Randy's Throwing Knife is another weapon that's found through the Crucible, but it's a bit more readily available since it drops at random at the end of any Crucible activity. This is a fantastic scout rifle too, one of the few weapons that offer damage bonuses in both the left and right columns. At 260 RPM, you would think that the bullet spray would be everywhere, but this is a surprisingly stable and accurate weapon, and it has a huge trait pool, providing some extremely unique god rolls, like Gut Shot Straight and Kinetic Tremors, which has proven to be a standout combination in PvE. Hung Jury is another scout rifle that can be extremely versatile, but at 180 RPM, this precision scout is much more of a nail driver. While it doesn't offer as many trait combinations as the Randy's Throwing Knife, it does offer some incredibly powerful ones, which can include Firefly or Kinetic Tremors. The Hung Jury is part of the Nightfall loot table, so it is on a rotation, along with the other seasonal Nightfall weapons, but it can be focused through Zavala, giving you a secondary option to farm for a god roll. The final kinetic weapon in today's list is the Riptide, an incredible stasis fusion rifle that is most famous for its inclusion of Chill Clip, which pairs up very nicely with Compulsive Reloader, Auto Reloading, or Feeding Frenzy. It's fast, it's powerful, it handles champions, and deletes guardians. There's not much more you can ask from a weapon. The Riptide drops at random at the end of any Crucible activity, but it can also be rewarded from Shaxx's Ingrams, and can also be focused through Shaxx's Crucible weapon focusing. And now let's flip the paradigm and talk about energy weapons. With the first, the BXR Battler. This pulse rifle has been out for some time now, but that doesn't mean it's not still just as lethal. This 450 RPM pulse features the nostalgic Halo sights and a legacy frame, which give it incredible accuracy, even from extreme distances. It's got a ton of great combinations, which feature Incandescent, Blunt Executioner, or Kill Clip. What's even better is that this pulse rifle is craftable, and it can be acquired through Dares of Eternity, and it can be rewarded through Xur's Ingrams and his chest at Xur's Treasure Hoard. Next up is the Strident Whistle, a solar bow. You won't find too many bows outside of raids and seasonal content that can offer as many top tier trait combinations as the Strident Whistle. Since it's a precision frame bow, it has incredible impact, which gets significantly amplified when you add in Incandescent or Explosive Head. And with Archer's Tempo active, this bow feels significantly faster than what its 600 plus draw time reads. Strident Whistle can be acquired at random at the end of strikes or nightfalls, or through Vanguard focusing. Up next, we turn to Neomuna for the Iterative Loop Fusion Rifle. Not only does this fusion rifle look awesome with its trippy neon glow, but it's one of the most powerful fusion rifles currently in Destiny. In large part, this is thanks to the tracer rockets that get created on sustained fire, but the Iterative Loop can also drop with some pretty insane trait combinations that make it extremely powerful, both in Crucible or PvE when taking on champions and bosses. Pugilist or Demolitionist can both offer great synergy to your build. I love Kickstart when in PvP, and Volt Shot is just so fun to use against big groups of enemies. A reliable, hard-hitting fusion rifle is hard to come by, especially one that also comes with lead from gold, which fits the double special meta extremely well. One of the many reasons this has been one of my favorite weapons since the release of Lightfall. Moving on, we have the No Survivors Solar SMG. This drops from the Ghost of the Deep dungeon, and is the next best thing for those Guardians who missed out on the Callus mini tool. It's not as fast, coming in at 750 RPM, but it does have significantly higher impact and range than that of the mini tool, and it does offer incandescent or target lock, which can be equally effective, especially when you factor in this weapon's origin trait, which provides it an emergency reload after reviving an ally or completing a finisher. The Retraced Path is the final energy weapon in today's list, another 30th anniversary weapon that's available through Dares of Eternity and through Xur's Treasure Hoard, and it's another craftable weapon. Trace rifles have been significantly more popular in the recent months as double special loadouts have become more common, with many of the stronger trace rifles being offered through raids and seasonal content. The Retraced Path is a low-key steal as it comes with either Golden Tricorn, Demolitionist, or Incandescent, with either Feeding Frenzy or Subsistence. Just because it is more readily available than other trace rifles does not mean that it lacks in its performance. This is downright one of the best trace rifles currently in Destiny. With kinetic and energy weapons out of the way, let's talk about our heavy hitters. Starting with the Cold Comfort Stasis Rocket Launcher, another Ghost of the Deep weapon that has become a top-tier source of DPS. This is in large part thanks to the combination of Envious Assassin, along with the Cold Comfort's origin trait, which loads an emergency reload right into the magazine. With Bait and Switch or Explosive Light, this can be an extremely hard-hitting weapon that will decimate any target. And since it's stasis, it also offers Chill Clip, which is an absolutely amazing trait, especially against champions. Up next, the Taipan Linear Fusion Rifle. With Triple Tap, Firing Line, and its Feist Stinger origin trait, this weapon continues to be one of the best discount options for supreme levels of DPS. While linear fusions aren't quite what they once were just a season ago, they can still pump out a lot of damage. And since this is a free and craftable weapon, it's perfect for new and returning Guardians. And since it can drop from any Ingram or any activity, it's a pretty readily available reward. The Wendigo is another heavy weapon that can really pump out some high DPS, especially when it comes with auto reloading and explosive light, but it can also be a terrific weapon for crowd control with chain reaction. Like the Hung Jury, the Wendigo is available through Nightfall rotation, and it can be picked up through Zavala's weapon focusing. Moving on, we have the Terminus Horizon Arc Machine Gun. When conforming to the double special loadouts, heavy machine guns make an extremely viable option since you're going to be able to get so much more heavy. And since this one can come with Dragonfly in the left column and either Volt Shot or Target Lock in the right, it's an absolutely amazing weapon. Terminus Horizon is available through the Spire of the Watcher dungeon. And the final weapon, or weapons I should say, that we'll talk about today is the Half-Truths and the Other Half. Either one will do, because it's not as much the sword that we're after, but the Eager Edge perk itself, which is by far one of the most beneficial game-changing traits, and not even in a combat sense, but just movement in general. If not for Eager's Edge, there would not be well skating and all its variations, and speed running through things like lost sectors, strikes, or just when you're out and about doing public events. It would all take so much more time without the use of Eager's Edge. Like the Retraced Path and the BXR, these two swords can be found through Dares of Eternity and Xur's Treasure Hoard, and both can be crafted. A little side note, when crafting either of these swords, Enhanced Eager's Edge is not as beneficial as you might think, as it only provides a slight reduction of how long it takes to re-engage Eager's Edge. To add an additional note to the importance of swords, class-specific swords are in some ways just as beneficial as having swords with Eager's Edge. The Crown Splitter is truly a Titan's best friend, and the Quick Fang embodies the Assassin Striker mode of an Invisible Hunter, and both of these swords can prove to be extremely versatile. I just wish I could say the same for the Eternity's Edge. Nevertheless, these class-specific swords and swords with Eager's Edge are both worth having at the ready. And with that, we've completed our journey through the 15 13 must-have non-raid legendary weapons, featuring 5 from each weapon slot. I'm sure that I've left out at least 1 or 2 weapons that you may have hoped to have seen here, like the Aikilos SMG maybe, or the Exalted Truth. So if I left a weapon out that you feel deserves to be a must-have in every new Guardian's inventory, then by all means, let us know in the comments down below. With that being said, I wish you all the best of luck throughout the rest of this season and throughout the rest of Lightfall. Thank you as always for checking out today's video. If you enjoyed and found it helpful, then be sure to hit the like button below along with the subscribe button if you're new. Both are greatly appreciated and both really do help support the channel. And until next time, Guardians, this has been Profane, wishing you all some happy hunting.